Your mental health matters. Positive Mental Health Week on Tipp FM.
Addiction comes under the banner of mental health problems. Last Tuesday I spent a very inspiring afternoon at Aiséirí outside of Cahir, speaking to some people who have battled with addiction. First of all I spoke to Mick and then to Alec. Mick, thanks for talking to us today. You're here in Aiséirí. How did you come to be here?
Well, I started in the outpatient programme in Aiséirí in Wexford, and then I moved on to KML, which is the secondary treatment centre in Waterford. And I'm living there now at the minute. I'm moving out now in the next couple of weeks. But I just was asked to come down to do the interview, and anything I can do for Aiséirí or KML, I'm willing to do it.
All right. What brought you into treatment in the first place?
I suppose I felt like I'd nowhere left to turn. I was suicidal. I was using daily. I'd lost my family. I didn't feel like I could turn to them. I just felt like I had no other options, and Aiséirí was suggested to me, and it was the best decision I've ever made.
And when you say you had no other options, what mentally, where were you at that point?
Well, I was in and out of psychiatric units, and I was getting nothing out of them apart from medication, and that's not what I needed. I needed counselling. I was in and out of outpatient units and other facilities, and I didn't get a lot of help out of it either. So mentally, I broke down, and Aiséirí was the only option that was left there for me,
How is your life now by comparison? Can you compare to, what are we talking about, 6 months ago, a year ago?
9 months ago.
9 months ago. So how would you compare, Mick, the way you're feeling now to back then?
Oh, I'm a different person now. I'm myself now, I'm not controlled by drugs, I'm not controlled by alcohol anymore. I've done the work myself, but it was facilitated by Aiséirí and KML, Now I have options now, there's light at the end of the tunnel now. I have possibilities as far as education goes. My fitness is good again, and I'm surrounded by good people, who are in recovery and who are looking out for my best interests. And I have my family back as well, which is the important thing, and I feel like I can be honest with my family and communicate with my family.
What about that, getting your family back as such? Did they have to confront the way you were as well? Did you have to confront them? How did that work?
Well, to be honest, they didn't know a lot about my using. I had moved away from my home in Wexford, and I was living in Waterford, and as far as they knew, everything was going all right until the first time I was put into the psychiatric unit, and then they were told that I was in there. Right. After that, it wasn't easy. I still wanted to use when I came out of the psychiatric unit, and I did use when I came out of it, and I drank when I came out of it. But I was kind of given I don't know what you call it, but they just basically told me that I needed to go to treatment if I wanted to be in contact with my niece, especially, who was very important in my life, and I wanted to do it for her, and I wanted to do it for my family, and I wanted to get them back,
What about going back out into the world again? Have you any worries about confronting the same fears, the same difficulties that you had before?
I have fear, but I think it's healthy fear. I mean, I don't want to go back out there cocky, you know what I mean? I think in Aiséirí and KML, I've got the tools that I need to confront them things. I'm aware that it's not going to be easy and I'm going to have troubles, but everyone has troubles in their life,
Sure.
And I'm confident I can do it, with the right help, as long as I can keep going to me recovery meetings, as long as I keep going to me aftercare, as long as I stay in contact with my counsellors, I know everything will be fine.
Right. If you didn't discover Aiséirí, if you didn't discover that sort of counselling, where do you think you'd be at this stage?
I think I'd be dead. I've no doubt about it. As far as I was concerned, I wasn't going to see my next birthday. I had given up on life, I had given up on everything in it, and when I found Aiséirí, I realised that there is a life out there for me.
Alex is with me now. Again, you started here about a year and a half ago or so, Alex, was it?
A year and a half ago, Fran, that's right, yeah.
And what brought you here?
I suppose I wanted a new way of life, really. I was mentally, physically, I was just wrecked. All I thought about 24/7 was addiction, and really, I suppose Aiséirí, I learned about addiction and what it was doing to me and what I was actually losing out on, and I all I thought about, like I said, was drink and drugs, and it just, addiction takes over your life,
And did that take over your life relatively suddenly, or was it over a period of years, or how did that work?
near the end, obviously, it took over my whole life. It dictated everything I'd done. As I said, you get out of bed in the morning, you open the curtains, you look out the window, and bang, you're back, back to square one again. It's another day of this mental disease that it just takes over your whole life. So progressed, at first, I suppose I could, like any lads here, I tell you, you could go to the pub or you go home, but eventually it just takes over your whole life, and
what I mean, when you say it takes over your whole life, what about family, for instance? What did it do where family is concerned?
I suppose only in the last, like I said, 18 months, I've realised how bad I was. As in I neglected, my responsibilities as a father, even, and things that you should be doing, and like I said, addiction just takes you away from all the good things in life. Things that I should have been doing, and it's even hard even now even to talk about it. Even it still cuts deep. But like I said, Aiséirí here showed me how to live life again, as well as I'm on a 12-step program, and I go to meetings, AA meetings, NA meetings, and they help me. It helps me to cope on a daily basis, with life.
What about where confronting the demons, which I presume was part of what you did here? Was it with great difficulty you did that?
No, not in the finish. No, like I said, mentally, physically, I was broken. I was gone. I no longer enjoyed drinking drugs. So to come in here and I really didn't know what was coming ahead of me. But to deal with stuff here, like I was taught, how to deal with certain cravings and things, but like actual torments that you'd have going on in your daily living, I found it, excellent to deal with,
Sure. Is there a spiritual element to what you did here?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. The spiritual side of things, I really enjoyed, like so I love nature, but actually today I see a different side of it, So the spiritual side of it, I enjoy. I enjoy that side of it,
Yeah. What about for the future then? What are you looking to now?
Basically, I'm looking to stay well, to do the suggested things that were said to me, and to keep my health, my mental health right is my first priority. I don't look too far ahead, I try to, keep things at a fairly level peg and find a balance in life. So really,
and what about where your own confidence is concerned? Because I presume a lack of self-esteem, all of those things we hear associated with addiction. Was that true in your case?
Yes, Fran. Yeah, it's at days you could be driving or you could be going doing things. I'm talking about when I was in addiction there, and you don't want to see anyone. You don't want to talk to anybody. You just want to be kind of basically on your own. Yeah. I spent a lot of time even just in the woods in nature alone. I was just talking about there, and at times, I didn't want to come out of there. I felt when I was on my own that's all I wanted to be like, and that's really not who I am. So.
Yeah. Was there one particular thing that said, I'm at the end of the road here now? I either go and get treatment or I can't continue on with this. Was there one particular time you remember?
No, but there was a few incidents, that happened to me, and like I said, when you cross over that line, and you say, hey, this isn't right. This is not really who I am. So, like as to pinpoint one thing, there was numerous things there, but like I said, it's not who I was or who I am. I wanted to be well. As I said, Fran, addiction, it takes over your life. You go down to the shops, you go on a daily basis, wherever it is, you want to go shopping, and before you know it, you're in using, or you're in a pub, and you're saying, hey, why am I here? This is not who, I don't want to be here, but you just can't help yourself. It just takes over.
Now, in the course of our conversations, we mentioned Came Ella a couple of times, and Jerry Carroll is a counsellor there, and he's with me now as well. Hello, Jerry, how are you?
How are you? Not too bad.
That is literally the next step, isn't it, after Aiséirí?
Yes. Came Ella is Aiséirí's extended care facility based in Waterford. It was set up in 2003. As a result of, from what staff in Aiséirí would have seen, as a lot of young men would have gone through treatment and would have done exceptionally well while in Aiséirí. Then once they returned to their old environment, they'd have relapsed. And so Kemela was set up to help those guys to come away from their old environment, high risk situations, family, crime, whatever it may be, and to start really from a fresh slate. So it's a 9-bedroom unit, men only, and in Waterford City. And basically, the guys that would come to Waterford would be high risk.
Right.
There would be, fear of relapse.
Is it a continuation of the program here, or is it more of a supervision, or what exactly?
No, it is a continuation of treatment, as we say, secondary treatment. But we would work closely with people just basically on getting back into living, working, starting to see. Our program would be basically, it's obviously, we look at practical stuff, living skills. We look at people's futures, whether we work or education. We work closely with the VEC and all the colleges in Waterford. And we have a very strong spiritual side of the program, which would be a continuation of the 12-step program, attendance at aftercare and recovery meetings. Then we also look at basic things like, rebuilding family relationships, financial issues that may be outstanding, and then basically everything that helps to build the individual's self-esteem.
How do you find the attitude of people? And I think you mentioned like colleges and stuff. What is the attitude like in terms of dealing with people who've come through the programs?
To be really honest, we couldn't say enough for the support that we get throughout the colleges and all the voluntary services in Waterford. They've been exceptional. And originally I suppose people would have been quite fearful, and that's because they wouldn't have understood what the program is. But with time and seeing the success of, anybody rebuilding their lives and getting it back on track has been tremendous, and people have been very supportive.
Common denominator, even from speaking to a small group like this, is the lack of self-esteem, the lack of confidence and stuff.
Absolutely.
And they need that to go back out into the world again. So how do you handle that?
Well, a lot of the work that we would do in Kemela and Waterford, we would do a lot of group therapy, where people would share their life experiences and their fears of what's been holding them back from being their true self. We offer extensive one-to-one counselling services, both internally and externally, depending on what issues may arise. A lot of the time there's a lot of childhood issues that need to be addressed, and we look at those. And then we work in a very holistic program with each individual, and we find what their natural buzz is, know, and whether it be sport or rebuilding physically or emotionally, whatever it may be, we'll find it for that individual, because we have found that once you give that person the time and the space and the security, they can generally rebuild,
And do you find yourself, like I did here today, absolutely privileged to hear that story, or for people to share that story with you?
Most definitely, I consider that on a daily basis. It's a privilege to go into work and be part of something which is so courageous and so powerful. I see people, when people come into us, they're fairly broken, physically, emotionally, physically. And then over a short space of time, we're given support and enthusiasm and respect that how they can develop into the person that they're meant to be.
Jerry, thanks indeed for talking to us.
Thank you.
Your mental health matters. Positive Mental Health Week on Tipp FM.